Good morning. Welcome into yet another edition of the Ben Garcia Show. Started a little bit late. What do you guys want me to do? That's just what happens. Appreciate you guys coming in, being here, and I will see you guys in just a second.
The Ben Garcia Show. Yeah. Woo. Best show in the land. Yup. Come and get your information from Ben Garcia. Get the latest on your quarterback, running backs, and receivers. Tune in, so any other show you don't need them. Any news that he giving out, please just believe him. Giving out the latest prediction and top-notch analysis. Wanna hear the truth? Better have thick skin like calluses. The latest move that your team just made can be damaging. The dudes ain't speaking no facts, they just be rambling. Lights, camera, action, turn on the show. Go get the cameraman. Yeah. Lights, camera, action, turn on the show. Go get the cameraman. The Ben Garcia Show.
What is up, guys? Welcome into yet another edition of the Ben Garcia Show. Listen, I deserve a little bit of grace. A little bit. When the showing up late to streams, 5 minutes. Normally, recently, I've been really good at it. But I feel like I deserve a little bit of grace because I have to go to the Suns games the night before and be up here watching or be up here getting ready to do a show with you guys at 6 a.m. Listen, I even got up earlier than I normally do. I actually feel pretty good, especially for having gone to the Suns game last night. But that's what it is. Young, vibrant, spunky, some might say. Michael, Sandman, Aaron, all in the chat this morning. Michael watching baseball this morning. I am so stoked. Just really quickly, I am so stoked for the Diamondback season. I am so stoked for the Diamondback season. Everything about the Diamondbacks is so fun to watch. Anyways, guys, we got some things to get into this morning. We'll get into some Suns in just a minute. I feel like there's a lot of interesting stuff there that we can take out from last night. Budenholzer potentially getting the axe. We saw that yesterday as well from Sam Amick of The Athletic. I believe he is. But either way, let's start here. Because there are some things yesterday that came out about Kyler Murray that I thought was really interesting. But before I even really get there, part of the thing that comes off as Kyler Murray being overrated or Kyler Murray getting too much flack is because of his contract. Because he was paid really early. And if there's one thing that Steve Keim did for the Phoenix Suns, if there's one thing Steve Keim did for the Arizona Cardinals, that contract has aged fairly well. So it begs the question, is Kyler Murray the best value at quarterback in the NFL? And then you ask yourself, well, come on, no, there's clearly some other players that are better than Kyler Murray in the NFL with a better contract. And yeah, there is one. Let me read you off some of the people who have a contract higher than Kyler Murray's. Dak Prescott, you could argue if he is better than Kyler, but Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, Tua Tagovailoa, Jared Goff, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts. So Kyler Murray is not in that tier one of guys. He is no longer a top 10 paid quarterback in the NFL. So let me read you some of the quarterbacks who make roughly right around what Kyler Murray makes. So there's Kyler, and then there's Deshaun Watson, Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford. Patrick Mahomes is here as well, but that's because he's clearly just a team guy and wants to be able to allow them to have team flexibility. But once you get past Patrick Mahomes' egregiously great contract for the Chiefs, it's Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford, Derek Carr, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith, Justin Fields. Outside of Matthew Stafford, who is clearly better than Kyler Murray, you will get no arguments from me there. Where's the contract that is worse than Kyler's, but also the better player? I look at some of these people, or I look at some of these quarterbacks behind Kyler. Kyler's contract went from what looked to be an overpay to what is now one of the best values in the NFL. What's the argument for Jordan Love being better than Kyler Murray? I might even agree with you. But right now, Jordan Love's got one playoff win. And last year, he was a little underwhelming after that first year of starting. Jared Goff, good quarterback. But does anyone believe in Jared Goff in the big moments? Tua Tagovailoa, Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott, those are guys who all have higher contracts than Kyler Murray. And you could argue he's better than all of those guys. Whether it's Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, Tua Tagovailoa, Trevor Lawrence, Jared Goff, Jalen Hurts, you can argue, sure, Jalen Hurts and Trevor Lawrence. I'm sorry, you could argue Jalen Hurts and who's the guy in there? You could argue Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love, and some of those guys are better than Kyler. You could argue Jared Goff and Jalen Hurts are better than Kyler Murray. I would totally give you that. And I wouldn't give you too many arguments because Jalen Hurts won a Super Bowl, although I don't think they're that far away. But outside of that, we're just going to blindly agree that Justin Herbert is better than Kyler Murray? What has he done? I know that he is the what-if scenario king, but what has he done? Now, on paper, sure, would I rather Justin Herbert? Probably. But does he warrant a bigger contract pretty significantly over Kyler's? Dak Prescott is not clearly better than Kyler Murray. You can make the argument he is, but he's not clearly better, and he makes $60 million a year. Trevor Lawrence, what's the argument there? So Kyler Murray has now went from what is one of the more egregious contracts in the NFL because of, you could argue, did he deserve that? To now he is one of the biggest bargains, not just at quarterback in the NFL, but in the NFL as a whole. There is real implications on what Kyler Murray has done for this team in terms of his contract. And it doesn't really matter what Kyler is going to do when it comes to this season in the NFL. Unless he goes on an absolute heater this year, MVP caliber season, conference championship appearance, he's not getting another contract. So you ask yourself, where does Kyler Murray rank? Probably right outside the top 10 of quarterbacks in the NFL. And I want to put him in the top 10, but there's no argument really at this point to be made. He's got 0 playoff wins. And outside of that half season of his 2021 campaign where he nearly won the MVP halfway through, and then he got injured, there's really no argument to him being a top 10 quarterback, although I've been trying to fight that battle as well. It is pretty impressive what Kyler Murray's contract has evolved into. It is now not one of the bigger headaches and not a contract people point to and laugh. Now it's, man, that contract's pretty good. Because you look at Dak Prescott's, Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love, Tua Tagovailoa, and Justin Herbert's deals, all guys, none of them had any playoff significant wins. None of them have been just absolute ballers in the playoffs. Listen, Kyler Murray, you could argue he's either better or worse than those guys, but there's no reason for those guys to all be ahead of Kyler Murray in terms of contracts. And Kyler's not getting a new one anytime soon. And then it brings me to this. Not only has Kyler Murray's contract grown to be a bargain, but he is changing who he is mentally. And this is something with Kyler that we've been worried about for a while. It's not just necessarily the physical game for Kyler. We know how good he is there. I've argued that Kyler Murray is clearly one of the most talented players in the NFL. It's not that for Kyler. It's the mental side. It's the, I hate this, it's the two school for school mentality. That's what it is. Kyler Murray for a long time just played the too cool card. He has evolved mentally into what is a mature quarterback in the NFL. Kyler Murray over in South Korea, or he's over in I do not want to get those two wrong. I'm pretty sure it's South Korea at this point for Kyler Murray. Yes, South Korea. I do not want to get those two mixed up. So Kyler Murray, who's on a trip in South Korea, obviously had a couple of quotes, and I read this article. It was from Around the NFL, or I guess I should say an NFL article by Keith Petra. And basically, Kyler used to be a we didn't do enough guy. But Kyler Murray was quoted saying this: I think the ultimate goal for us is to win the Super Bowl, and we haven't done that yet, and I haven't done enough. Do you know what that does for me? That is exactly what I want to see from my quarterback. Kyler, when people get mad at him now for looking sad on the sidelines or sulking a little bit, like sometimes that's just competitive fire that I don't get mad at him for. He's had some issues in the past of what was fighting with Cliff Kingsbury on the sidelines. That's not the same as Kyler Murray being pissed after a loss. But Kyler has changed his mentality from we didn't do enough to I didn't do enough. He is embracing the quarterback position mentally. He is falling on the sword. First to give credit to other players, first one to take the blame for a loss. That's what you need to see from Kyler. He is evolving off of last year to this year as a leader of this team. It's what just makes me want to pray and just get ecstatic about what Kyler Murray could be for the Cardinals. It's why when people come after me, oh, you're a Kyler hater. No one wants Kyler Murray to succeed more than me. I don't want to go back into quarterback purgatory. And when I see his evolve, nature of mentally embracing himself in the quarterback position, when I see him evolve from what at times was a little bit of a snobby player coming into the NFL, a too cool for school mentality, to this, I haven't done enough to win a Super Bowl. Not we, I. If Kyler Murray can just put it all together on the field, and this year there are no excuses. If you combine him with his pretty cheap bargain contract now outside of the top 10, with his evolution mentally at the quarterback position, and using his physical talents to all put it together, the sky's the limit. And Kyler Murray, I believe, can do that. It's just going to have to put pen to paper. Okay. I'm so stoked already for the for the NFL season. It's like the Michael Scott meme of like, no question about it, I'm ready to get hurt again, because that's how I feel. All right, here, let's go here. I'm not going to dive any deeper into the Kevin Durant side of things. I said my piece yesterday. I got called Clown Garcia from a few media members at the game who also thought it was a funny bit, I guess you should say. But I am yesterday we saw a report from Sam Amick, I believe of The Athletic, saying that the Suns could fire Mike Budenholzer. Those are the type of Evan Sidery reports that piss me off. Oh, a source told me the Suns could fire Mike Budenholzer. Okay. One unnamed source in the NBA that we don't know if they're credible or not said that the Suns could fire Mike Budenholzer. Okay. Cool. I also have an unnamed source that said Mike Budenholzer might just walk away from the team. It's all nonsense. But in the spirit of sports discussion, I'll discuss it. I don't believe anything Sam Amick has to say, especially recently when it comes to basketball reporting. I think he might actually be of Sportico. But I don't believe a lot of what Sam Amick has to say. Most of that comes from my co-host, Brendan Clean of Locked On Phoenix Suns, who I trust tremendously. And sometimes people think we don't like each other. I love Brendan. Brendan is an elite person for me to do work with and to partner up with. But let's just talk about it. Should Mike Budenholzer be fired? I'm going to give you the unpopular opinion, and I don't have a good reasoning for it. I am willing to lose every single argument when it comes to defending Mike Budenholzer as the Suns head coach next season. And it all stems from, I just don't want to hire another coach. 4 coaches in 4 years. What would it be? Monty Williams, Frank Vogel, Mike Budenholzer, and whoever the Suns hire next year. I can't get my arms around that. And then it leads me to believe this. Who are you going to hire? Again, it goes back to my arguments for when it was trading Kyler Murray or it was whatever, blow up the Suns. Regardless, like forget all of that. You want to get rid of Mike Budenholzer, then what? I just don't think you are going to get the hire you want when you continuously fire head coaches, because no one's going to want that job with zero job security. I'm willing to die on the sword of the Suns should keep Mike Budenholzer, but I'm willing to do it in such a strange way. I'm willing to admit I am probably wrong on this. I get it. The issue is I understand his rotations don't make any sense. I understand his relationship with players might be fractured. I get all of that. But what are you supposed to do? And at some point, Monty Williams, Frank Vogel, Mike Budenholzer, potentially whoever the Suns hire next year, at what point do we point the finger at the players? Because I get it. Why Ryan Dunn and Oso Ighodaro have just been on ice for the last 2 months while Bradley Beal has been continuously in and out of the lineups for some reason, I can't get my arms around that. None of it makes any sense. His rotations don't make any sense. Inserting Bobo into the lineup and then taking him out doesn't make any sense. Ryan Dunn being put on ice, Oso Ighodaro being put on ice for 2 months while we're just trying to figure out where to put Bradley Beal. Colin Gillespie starting, Tyus Jones can not even crack the lineup, but then when you start Colin Gillespie, he's only going to play 12 minutes, and then Tyus Jones is going to play 27 minutes. I get it. None of it makes any sense. But my whole thing is this. I don't think the Suns are going to be championship contenders next year anyways. So you might as well just see it through with Bud. And there is an interesting thing to me that I thought, that I saw on, I can't take credit for this because it's not mine, and that's not what I do. I'm not Evan Sidery. But I saw Colin Cowherd put out this yesterday, and it was because I was watching The Herd, and my interaction with Kevin Durant got mentioned on The Herd, and I just thought it was funny. But I was watching it, and in that, when they had talked about my interaction, which was very brief, I'm not the star of the show, Colin Cowherd had said, maybe Bud is trying to send a message to the players because he knows Kevin Durant is not going to be there next year. He's trying to send a message to the rest of the team of, this is my team. We're going to do things my way. I won't be bossed around. And I thought that was interesting for Colin Cowherd to say that because it does make a little bit of sense. If you know Kevin Durant is out the door anyways, 1 foot out, you can even argue both feet out, but still kind of in the mix, why would you cater to him? And that's why you're fighting with him. Because maybe you're sending a message to the players that will be on this team next year, which is probably only going to be like a quarter of the roster. Hey, I'm not playing around. It's not your way or the highway. It's my way or the highway. And I kind of respect that if that's the case Mike Budenholzer is going to. I get it. The rest of the stuff doesn't make any sense. Not playing the energy guys, starting Colin Gillespie, but then putting Tyus Jones in to play most of the game. Oso Ighodaro and Ryan Dunn being put on ice for 2 months. Bradley Beal being in the lineup, Bradley Beal being out of the lineup. I get all of that. Schematics, X's and O's, none of it makes any sense. And Brendan had also told me last night, he goes, well, listen, if I just told you, forget Monty, forget Vogel, And I just said, Bud, did he do a good job this year? Yes or no? And I would say no. I would say he probably should be fired on that merit alone. But there's more nuance than that. Vogel was there. Monty was there. And at some point, we have to point the finger at the players. We cannot just point it at the head coach. And I get that we're talking about this now. The Suns won by 40 last night. We should be thankful that they finally won a game. But I just want to continue to divvy up the blame here accordingly and for what team and what player. And it goes back as well to what I said before. You want to fire Mike Budenholzer, then what? You want to hire some assistant? I mean, I've seen some people say Jared Dudley. I don't know where you go. You know, Brian, it's very interesting that you say, is Ben's hair got a purple tint to it? Or is it my video all messed up? I thought, just quick tangent here. Yesterday, Katie's buddy was reacting to another one of my videos that I put out, so I went and watched some of it. And he said the same thing. He said, does Ben hair have a purple tint to it? Or is it just my video? I don't know. I do not have any purple in my hair. I will never dye my hair, ever. Listen, I'm just thankful that it's still here and plentiful right now at 27 years old. But no, I did not dye my hair. It's just the lighting in the background that I thought people enjoyed. And I'm like this close to taking it away because now people think I have purple hair. So no purple tint to anything. Although I do think that's hilarious and not offended by that at all. I think it's great. So no, that is, I am answering that question now. Anyways, the Budenholzer stuff as well continues to be interesting because as the season continues to spiral down the drain, aside from last night, I'm curious to see how the blame will get divvied up and who it's going to get blamed on. And if you're already getting rid of Kevin Durant, and Bud doesn't get along with him, and you potentially get rid of Bradley Beal, and Bud doesn't get along with him, well then whatever. Why would you get rid of Bud anyways? The only thing that trumps all of this, that trumps the 4 coaches in 4 years argument, that trumps his rotations are off argument, my side of keep Budenholzer, and the other side of don't keep Budenholzer. The only thing that trumps all of that is if Devin Booker walks into Matt Ishbia's office and says, hey, it's either me or that guy. Because we know who they're picking, Devin Booker. So if he walks in there and says, I want Bud here or get him the hell out of here, you either keep him or get him the hell out of here. Doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what I think. It matters what Devin Booker thinks. And at the end of the day, that's what I go to. So I'm still begrudgingly keep Coach Bud, although I don't necessarily think I have a great leg to stand on here. I just don't like the 4 coaches in 4 years thing, guys. I don't know who you're supposed to get. And then to the point that my guy Michael made earlier in the chat, how many coaches is it going to take? 6? I don't know. I can't get there. But again, the trump card is Devin Booker walking in and saying he wants him or doesn't want him. Everything else is just sports table arguing. Anyways, guys, I'm going to go ahead and head over to the other job. Appreciate you guys making me a part of your day. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, maybe if you want to. I mean, if you don't like me, I mean, I get that too. I'm not going to force you, but I would appreciate it. It'd make me feel better. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. Thank you so much for making me a part of your day. 6 a.m. every single day streaming. Get ready with me in the morning. 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until tomorrow, I'm Benjamin Garcia. And guess what it's been, guys? It's been the Ben Garcia Show.